We are now going to move along to our next speaker, who I believe we're talking about search engine optimization, which I just realized what that was, actually. And so by virtue of that, I would now like to call upon Suzanne Christie, and she's the co-founder of Shout Media. Suzanne is, of course, has an extensive experience in media graphic and web design and marketing. Suzanne holds a Bachelor of Arts in Business with a major in marketing from Lakehead University. Suzanne has worked with hundreds of clients from municipality or from a multiplicity of organizations in both the private and public sector. Her specialty is creating engaging campaigns using digital and social media. Also, Suzanne teaches internet marketing at Confederation College. So, Suzanne, take us away.
Thank you, thank you. Yeah. Thank you. Oh, I need a little clicker here. Thank you so much for having me. It's really been fun working with NADF with Engage 2016. When I looked at the topics, we really wanted to put some information in about SEO, search engine optimization, and I have to say, I really didn't want to be the presenter because, you know, SEO tends to, when you think about it, I wouldn't want to listen to a topic for 45 minutes on SEO. So that said, when I didn't get a lot of people in Thunder Bay that really wanted to tackle the project, I said, okay, I'm going to do it. I'm going to learn as much as I can about SEO. We do, you know, the guys in the office are working with SEO all the time for our clients, but I'll be honest, I didn't know that much about it. So I sat down with them, and I don't want to insult them, but they don't mind. The geeks in our office, we have quite a few. And they said, okay, focus, because for those of you that know me, it's very hard for me. And I said, okay, let's start to learn about it. And it's not just search engine optimization that I want to, you know, hopefully teach you a little bit about. It's also SEM, search engine marketing. So I'll give you a little 1 or 2 minute blurb about our company, and then I'll try to make some sense out of the sort of convoluted dark world of SEO. Our company started 6 years ago. We felt there was a real niche in Thunder Bay, or actually we're doing a lot more business outside of Thunder Bay now for companies that can create social media marketing and internet marketing, digital marketing for their companies and their online presence. So we found that there was a niche, and I will be honest, we've been quite successful over the last few years. There's 8 of us now, and all we get to do all day is create fun projects like websites, social media campaigns, and software development. So it's been a really fun ride. You know, we also create a lot of different websites. We just recently created, as you can see on the screen, the Climate Ready City website and annual report for the City of Thunder Bay. And just to keep, you know, tooting our horn, we do a lot of work with a lot of different clients, and we really enjoy it. Everything from branding, you know, to web design, and a lot of social media and email marketing, as well as we're just starting to get into SEO. So pretty much every client that walks into the door at Shout Media walks in, we launch their website, or we're looking at launching their website, and they say to me, they say, Suzanne, we got to be #1. And I go, what do you mean? Well, when people search engineering in Thunder Bay, we want to be #1. And I say, you know, it's not that easy. Well, yeah, it's got to be that easy. It's not going to be that hard. We want to do it. And I will be honest, it's not that easy, but you can definitely move your rankings from number 18, and I encourage every single person in here to go into an incognito tab in Chrome and go in and search your industry, what you think most people are searching for, and see where you rank. I mean, has everybody done that that has a company they work for or a business here? Has everybody checked their rankings? Give me a show of hands. Has everybody checked where they are? All right, great, so you do that. And where are you roughly? Are you on the first page? First page. Not with Google Ads. First page? Ooh, so couple first page. Second page, coming up. And then just out in the abyss somewhere, didn't come up. So as you can see, it's really, really important to have strong SEO and strong SEM to make sure that you are coming up higher so that you're not somewhere in the abyss somewhere and your competitors are coming up as #1, #2, #3, and #4. And hopefully that's what we can help you with a little bit today. So you have to all understand that marketing is definitely changing. So in the past few years, over the last 6 years, we've really seen a big change from traditional marketing to now your digital and internet marketing. And this little graph, basically, you probably can't see it from back there, but it just gives you a rough idea of where people are increasing their spending for 2015 compared to the year prior, and a lot more people are spending their money on digital marketing and digital advertising. So people come in all the time and say, Suzanne, I can't afford that. How am I going to afford to spend money on my SEO? How am I going to afford to spend money on social media campaigns, Facebook ads, all this stuff? I don't have budget for that. And I look at them and I say, well, what did you do before? Well, we did our traditional advertising, and we still do that. We still take care of that. We do that. And I said, so did you think maybe you might want to shift a little bit of that to from traditional to digital? It works for us. Does it work? Well, yeah, it does. It works. I'm on the radio, I hear me, and I say, well, what are your analytics like? What do you mean? Well, your ROI, path to purchase, you can directly correlate how many people related to your traditional marketing. You put posters up, people are reading them, you know that? And they look at me and they say, well, I don't really understand. I say, because you have to embrace the fact that times are changing. And if you're not embracing social and digital marketing, you're going to fall behind. And those clients and competitors that are number 1 and 2 on the list when you're doing your searches, those are the ones that are embracing it. And don't think for a minute that's all organic. They're paying for some of that, and I'm going to show you how they're doing it. So again, we're going to go beyond traditional. So we're going to start to develop some tools that'll get your clients coming to your business. So in other words, the connected client. And your clients are now connected. So roughly, how many people here know what the cell phone usage or mobile usage is now for viewing websites, email, et cetera? It's pushing 80%. About 2 years ago, when I used to talk about mobile marketing, it was 60%. So we really have to also think about mobile as well, and we'll talk about that in a minute. So just to sum that up, common practice was always to invest a lot of money into your offline or your online or offline brand. But now you have to invest it into your online brand. And I'm not just talking about an e-commerce site. That's not what I'm talking about. You have your bricks and mortar store potentially, or your government organization, your NGO, your corporation, your nonprofit, whatever it is. There's a bricks and mortar there, but you also have an online presence. How much of your marketing is going to increase your online presence? You're not bricks and mortar, and you have to really give that a large percentage. So the first thing, step number 1, 7 simple steps, is web development. I still have clients coming and saying, I have a Facebook page. I have a lot of information on my Facebook page. I don't need a website. I'm a smaller company. Why set up a website? Because Google's not going to index you if you have a Facebook page. It doesn't work like that. You have to have website development if you want to compete with your competitors in that market. Facebook isn't good enough. And the other reason behind Facebook is that it doesn't have all your information. It's obviously not going to have your keywords. It's not going to have any of those bells and whistles. It's great to have a Facebook page, but that's not going to help you. That's not going to be what you need to do if you want to increase your SEO. Google doesn't really recognize how much traffic is happening on your Facebook page. So again, have a website made. And I break down website development into 2 stages. You already have an existing website, and you want to convert to a newer website with more stronger SEO features, or you've never had a website and you want to set up from scratch. Now, if you're creating a new site and you already have an existing site, I'm going to start with some of the information that's going to help you to build your new site. And I also want to talk about some other things too about building your new website. Again, in our office, we get a lot of clients coming in. They're not just small business. They're nonprofits, they're larger business, and they either A, tried to build their own website. Well, I don't know about you, but I would never build my own website because I couldn't do it. I'd be terrible at it. I know nothing about that. That'd be like me trying to fix my own car. Like, why would I ever try to do that? There's professionals out there that I would hire to do that. And if it worked well, I wouldn't see so many people coming in now without strong SEO, without proper functioning websites, because they decided to create it themselves. So if you think you can do it, that's great. But what I'm about to teach you, some of it does require working with your web developer and having a two-way street conversation with them to move forward and create something that's going to have some strong SEO. So you have an old website now. What you want to do is make sure you have Google Analytics on your old website. If you don't have it, that can be installed, no problem. You might say, well, I'm going to build my new website. Well, your new website's going to take time to build. I've never seen a website that was properly built in a short period of time. It takes a bit of time to get the content, to get the photography, to get everything done. So get some Google Analytics on your old site. You're going to need those after. So now I've got them on the old site, so by the time my new site is launched, I've got some good data, right? I've got some information on what my keywords are. I've got some information on what people are searching. So I've done my due diligence and I've created that. The next thing that you want to do is you want to claim or set up your Google business page. Does everybody know what a Google business page is? Everybody here pretty much knows? So if you don't create your own Google business page, Google will create it for you. And when Google creates that, unfortunately, I've seen a lot of errors. I've seen incorrect hours of operation, because does Google really know what your hours are? No, they just arbitrarily will pick some different hours and they'll put them in. Sometimes they put the wrong address in because you used to have your office about a year ago on Frederica, and now you moved your office to Arthur Street. Well, Google didn't quite get that, so guess what? Your Google page now says that your information's dated because you didn't create it from scratch. So you can claim that. It takes 30 days for that usually to come through, where Google allows you to keep that page and it's in your actual name to change that information. So that does damage to your business over that period of time. So really important to set up your own Google Business or Google Plus page. They go hand in hand. The next thing is, and this is something that I learned from the guys in the office, and they actually had about, I don't know, maybe like 3 pages on this, and I'm like, guys, I got to cut this down. This isn't going to help at all. So it's a canonical URL, which I had no idea that this actually existed. So with old websites, we would create, or the programmers would create, a website that might be, in this example, www.example.com. They'd also create for the home page, www.example.com/home. Then a lot of times we would use example.com on our Facebook page, right? And then we would use the index files in other areas. So now all of a sudden, instead of having one URL, you have 5. So when Google indexes you, they're searching all of those different URLs to try to figure out what your company does and what's included. So you want to go back and you want to take a look if you've created your own site, or talk to your web developer and make sure that you only have that one strong URL. Apparently, according to, again, the experts, this really will help you increase your SEO, and it's not a big thing to do. And again, older sites will have several URLs. You want that one strong URL to help you increase your SEO. So now you've got your old site. You've analyzed the data from your old site. The next thing you want to do is analyze your keywords. So you've developed this data over time. The only problem is in the last year and a half, Google has had some privacy infringements. I don't know if you're aware of that, but there's been some issues. So what they did was they really narrowed down the scope of what you can get from Google Analytics. So it's also important to know that your web developer has webmaster tools or web development tools as well, because that's going to allow you to access a lot more information. And they can help you with that to install it on, on your website so that you can get a lot more data, because you're going to want that data to analyze all of your analytics. So for all of you out here, how many people actively go on your website and take a look at traffic? And do you do it often, like maybe once every 2 weeks? Okay, so that's great. So some people are doing that. And when you're going through that, what you're going to find is you're going to find traffic, right? A lot of times your traffic's going up, right, hopefully. Or you're going to find that your traffic's going down and it's getting static. But it's important to look at that. But the next thing that you can do is you can look at your keywords. So I went yesterday when I was looking at Shout Media's back end, and I was looking at our keywords. And what I found was I had 75 requests or 75 searches for inbound marketing. Inbound marketing in the last 3 weeks. We don't have inbound marketing anywhere on our website. So they did actually get to our site, but what do you think I'm going to do now? I'm going to go back tomorrow, and I'm going to go back into our content. I can edit it. It's a WordPress site, very easy for me to edit it. And I'm going to go back in and I'm going to edit some of my content, and I'm going to put in some inbound marketing in there, because that's what people are searching. So whatever your organization is, whether it's a nonprofit, whether it's a small business, whatever it is, make sure when you're checking those analytics, you check what people are searching and you edit your content to reflect that. So it's, again, it's an ongoing sort of living almost, mechanism that you want to keep updating. So now we're developing our website still, we've gone on and I kind of jumped ahead a bit, but you want to create really, really relevant, robust content on your new site. So back in the day, what we would do, and I remember this, we would code sites, and we would take our background color, which was maybe purple, and we would make our text purple so that you couldn't see that text, but as many words as we could get in there. Because at the time, you could get more search results if you had more words in there. It doesn't work like that anymore. It's actually something that they call a black hat. So you don't want to do that in your content. And I had a client ask me yesterday, they said, well, we're going to put a whole bunch of words on the bottom, because that's what one of the other competitors, it was actually a dentist, does. So we just, we're going to throw all those words down there. Invisalign, we're going to throw dental services, we're going to throw this, that. And I said, well, Google will frown on that. You can't do that anymore. You have to have complete sentences. Google's algorithm doesn't allow you just to randomly populate words somewhere on your site and you're going to come up higher. So don't do it. If anything, it's going to deter your search. So it's going to deter the amount of searches or the amount of traffic that goes to your site. And ultimately, the only way to increase your SEO is get more people to your site, right? That's what you want. You want more people hitting your site. So if the current content isn't achieving high search engine results, if it is, don't edit it, right? So I went in again, looked at the keyword analysis, looked at our keywords, and I saw things like graphic design Thunder Bay. We're number 1. Well, I'm not going to edit that. I'm not going to change that. That's perfect. It works for me. I might down the road want to spend some money boosting that in my Google AdWords campaign, but for now, I'm just going to leave that. But I noticed, though, for other things, I'm lower. So I'm going to edit my content, but what you never want to do is don't ever take out content that's getting a lot of traffic and replace it with content that's not. Because then you're sort of cannibalizing on what you're already doing well at by taking out those keywords. So go ahead and edit, but don't take things out that are actually ranking you well. So again, no keyword stuffing. So I give you a little example of keyword stuffing. Again, what used to be done, don't do this. So if I'm getting a lot of results with Shout Media Graphics, I don't want to go into my site and write Shout Media Graphics, because again, that's not going to work for you. You also want to have clean, updated, organized code. So however your code is set up is a big part of your SEO as well. If your code is organized, if it's clean, if it's well developed, it's also going to improve your SEO. And that definitely came from our coders, who are all proud of their code, but they said it's a really, really important thing. And again, like I said, don't repeat words over and over again. So this is a little search that I did yesterday when I was working on this, and it sort of showed, and I didn't put the whole thing in, but it also, besides just inbound marketing, showed me a lot of areas where when I got to the bottom, we were really low. So again, check out your analytics, look at your impressions, look at your click-through rate. Another really important thing, and I was just talking to somebody about that today, I was talking to Greg about it, is you want to make sure that you check where people are coming off. Where's your bounce rate? So on your website, if you have an e-commerce site, are they getting to that point where they're ready to purchase, but now they're falling off? Why is that? What's causing that? So take a good look if there's something wrong with your site. Maybe there's a broken link, something isn't working. So really take a look in your analytics and see what's happening. If people are coming off, if they're staying on, how long are they staying on your site for? It's great to have 1,000 views on your site in a week, but how long are they there for? Take a look at that. So really embrace those analytics, because moving forward, you didn't have that with traditional media, but now you do. You can analyze everything, and you can really make that work for you. So again, moving away from random keywords out there to very well-developed, well-designed, well-written content. So now let's say I've never had a website. It's very easy to take my content over from my old website and convert that. I kind of have a rough idea of what I want to put in there. But now I've never developed a site before. So what I have to do is I really want to think about the keywords that I want to put in my site. And then I want to launch my site eventually and reevaluate, because what you think people are searching for, they might not necessarily be searching that way. Inbound marketing, I didn't even think of that. So really think about when you're launching your site, what are the keywords going to be, and put that into your content. Choose your domain names wisely. Make sure your domain name reflects your actual business, and always take .ca.com if it's available. For $10, I have probably seen in the last 5 years 50 companies that didn't buy the .com. So when I go to search the site, I go, what do you mean it's not coming up? Oh, it's not available. Why wouldn't you buy the .com? It's $10. Register that. Get that out there. Get that done. It's only going to help you. Register spelling mistakes, common spelling mistakes of your company. Go ahead and spend that $10 and take it, because a lot of people aren't getting to your site because they're misspelling it, and they don't see that. They don't get that. Again, the good content, and we wanted to talk about installing the webmaster tools, which we sort of talked about. So I decided to throw in inbound marketing, because that's really a big part of what we're doing here. So the other thing that you want to do is you want to make sure that you link as many social media platforms off of your website. So if you're on Facebook, does everybody here have the Facebook icon right on the website? Everybody has that? Great, that's good, because you want that. Everybody has Twitter right off of the website? Because if you don't, you want to make sure it's there. Facebook and Twitter, not the greatest ways to search. I've searched things on Facebook, can't find anything. So I always go to the website. Right off the bat, takes me right to. And check that every now and then. I've seen sometimes where websites have that broken link, and I'm trying to get to their Facebook page and it's not working. Make sure it works, and that's going to increase your SEO considerably, because you've got that back and forth going. The next thing is make sure you're linking to other sites. Reputable sites, though. So at Shout Media, we design a lot of sites. We put them on our website. Pretty much every one that we develop, we try to give them some real estate, and we put the URL on our website. That's going to increase traffic for them. What they do for us is powered by Shout Media with a link. That way it comes back to me. So if you own a clothing store, you definitely want to have some links on that clothing store to your suppliers, right? Nike sells to you, my gosh, maybe they're going to throw that onto their, their corporate page in Canada, that you're one of their dealers. Make sure you're taking advantage of those URLs and going back and forth with your inbound marketing. And I think that's a really important tip, and it substantially increases your SEO. So now we've launched our site, right? We've got our perfect content, we've got our great URL, we registered our .ca, we registered our .com. What do we want to do now? Well, what we want to do is we want to make sure that if we're really talented and we created our own site, we develop a sitemap. If you don't, have your web developer submit a sitemap to Google. If you don't do this, Google will index your site depending on how Google wants to index your site. Your homepage is always going to get 100%. So Google's always going to prioritize your homepage with 100%. That's what you want. That's great. You want that. But let's say that you're a company that really wants to focus on your shopping cart, or you're a nonprofit that really wants to focus on the donation button. You don't really care too much about your services. You don't care as much about your contact page. If Google indexes it and prioritizes everything before your donation page, that means that that's not going to be a priority, because Google doesn't prioritize based on how you want prioritization. They prioritize it based on how they see it. So you want to submit a sitemap. I have no idea how to do that. I would have to get our developers to do that, but that's what they do. The site's launched, they're submitting a sitemap. In that sitemap, and I actually have a little clip of it, it shows how, with this one site we released, how we wanted to prioritize. So a certain page got 100%, and then we gave all the other pages equal real estate. So they got 80%. So we said to Google, we don't mind if they all have 80%, but what we didn't want was 100% going to the first page, 60% going to one page, 20% going to the other page. So we sent it to Google and we prioritized. And this is key. This is really, really important for your existing site. You can, look at it if you haven't submitted a sitemap, or for a brand new website. So now, after your site is launched, so Shout Media launched our new site about 2 years ago. I'm going to be honest, we're like the mechanic that never fixes the car. We didn't update our site. I said to everybody, I said, okay, let's go. We got to update the site. Let's get some new blood on here. So we did. We updated everything. The next day, I couldn't keep up with the amount of requests coming through our contact page. And I looked at our head programmer and I said, Shane, what'd you do? What'd you do with the SEO here? What'd you do here? We're getting hits like I can't keep up. He looked at me like I was, with two heads. He goes, we updated the content. Like, you should know that. And I was like, what does that mean? When you update your content from a static site, it automatically bumps up. Google's spiders start to crawl over it and they go, oh, there's traffic on this site. Let's get this site indexed differently. Let's move it up the rankings, and it does. If you continually update your blog, update your news, put new photos on, put new content in. If you have, a site that you can edit easily, put some new information in the back end, new employees, update that. Your site's going to automatically start to rank higher in Google. And I didn't know this until I did it, and it worked. It was proven. I had so much more traffic. I had so many more people requesting information. And I see this a lot, and it's very detrimental. Again, I launched the site. Now, hopefully, I'm going to do some new social media platforms. I'm going to really update, like I said, the blogs. And I'm going to go back, and I'm going to analyze my keywords, right? So I've had my site up and running for 2 or 3 months. I'm going to go in and see what people are searching now. And then I'm going to edit my content. And I'm never going to stop doing that. I'm always going to keep analyzing that. So you've got your big 3 search engines. From what I heard, again, nobody really cares too much about Yahoo, unfortunately, but Google and Bing, your 2 biggest search engines, and those are the ones that you want to care about. So step 5, moving forward, so now you've got this fabulous site that has all your perfect content, your keywords are perfect, you've updated your content on a regular basis, you've put all your links in. What do you want to do now? Well, this is where people always come up and say, we want to be number 1. Well, might not be able to get you number 1, but I'm going to move you up the list. We're going to have to start a Google AdWords campaign. And I don't know if anyone here has started to create actual Google AdWords campaigns. There's 2 different ways you can do it. You can do it text only, or you can do it with actual images. So you want to start off with your Google AdWords account. You want to work with your ongoing analysis. And then when you go under Tools in your Google AdWords account, you want to go to your keyword planner, and you want to get ideas. So I did this yesterday as well as I was walking through this. Right off the bat, Google will start to give you all kinds of ideas of what you should target to, where you should target to, demographics. You can target different locations. You can target different things, but they'll come up with the most common words that you should start your campaign with. And it's a great starter point for you to think about how you want to market and choose your AdWords. So we've got some ideas now. We've looked at different searches for our industry, the volume of the searches. Now you're going to use that with your ongoing analysis. So and I've got a screenshot coming of it. When I looked at words for us, unfortunately in our industry, it's about $13 per click. So that means that if I really want to focus on website development, which was one of the top ones, it was a $20 click-through. So if I get 10 people clicking through to my site, that's $200. Well, is that worth it for me? I have to weigh that. But then I start to go into other things. I look at some things that I found really interesting. My competitors. So a lot of people were searching for my competitors, and then I came up, as did my competitors, and they hit me. Well, I thought, wait a minute, and I've done this now for actual clients. Why not use those keywords? So I look at my competitors, totally legit, totally legal. It's just like any other marketing endeavor. I'm putting money now into my competitors. I'm also doing that for all my clients. So if you have a competitor that you're getting, the words are out there, and there's a lot of traffic that's going through when they're typing in your competitor, but they're hitting your site, now I'm marketing that to go straight to my site. And I'm getting a lot of traffic on it. So make sure that you're using your competitor words. And you know what the great part is? They're cheap. So I'm not paying $20 for website development. I think I'm paying something like $4 for some of my competitors. So, something to think about when you're doing your ad campaign. And misspelled words, another big thing. You'd be surprised when you look at your analytics how many people are spelling your company wrong. Well, if they're doing that, throw a little bit of money in there. You can spend a lot of money, or you can spend a little bit of money. Google AdWords can be really expensive, or it can be not that expensive. So you have to really play around with it. The only thing is that you're definitely not getting organic searches. So you're going to get, your number 1 spot for a period of time, but that's not going to keep you up there as number 1. So the amount of money you spend on Google AdWords and the amount of time that you spend up there, once you stop paying for that, you're pretty much back down. You're probably not back down to where you were because hopefully it was successful. You got more traffic to your site. Your rankings are going up now. But it's not the best way to stay up there forever because it's not organic. It's a paid method. The best way to do it is keep evaluating and start to get that organic traffic up. So this is what I looked at for the keyword planner, and you can see company web, $21.69. Interestingly enough, though, if you're in the forestry industry, take a look at your words for forestry. 15 cents, $1, $1.50. You know, like I don't understand quite how, well, I do understand how Google does it. Not as many forestry companies are paying for Google AdWords, but in our industry, as you go through, we're paying a lot more. So if you do a little bit, I'm obviously going to maybe look at design logo, because I'm going to get an average monthly impression of 4,243, but I'm also spending 20 bucks a click. So you really have to spend some time analyzing how you want to do it. Not much different than doing your Facebook ads, right? See what works. Do A/B testing. Test different groups. So you want to test one group. See how it does. Test other keywords. And again, a little example of how you want your organic search, but you might need to use and spend money on those paid searches to eventually increase your organic searches. So, like I said, go through, evaluate your AdWords, evaluate your click rate through. So if you have, let's say, a group of words, and they're getting you a ton of impressions, but nobody's clicking through to your site, you can either A, spend more money, or B, get rid of that. It's not working for you. Move on to something that's giving you a lot of impressions, but also giving you a decent click-through rate. Step 6, moving on to step 7, remarketing. Something that's really, really important. So does everyone have an idea of what remarketing is? Okay, so remarketing is when you're on a website, and all of a sudden you're on this website. So you're on CNN, for example, and you look over and you see an ad for maybe T-Baytel, and you think, wow, how does CNN, how does T-Baytel afford to be on CNN's network? Like, that's amazing, right? And then you go, no, wait a minute. It has nothing to do with CNN. These are remarketing ads that you have on the ad network, which are going to go anywhere following your client's cookies. So let's say I'm always going on CNN's site. I'm going to start to see Gear Up for Outdoors ads if I've been to Gear Up for Outdoors site. They're going to remarket back at me. They're going to follow those cookies and send back. If I'm a nonprofit, so I'm a nonprofit organization, and somebody just went on my site, but they didn't go through. They didn't donate, they didn't follow through, or my e-commerce site, they got in, but they didn't complete the shopping cart. Guess what I'm going to do with remarketing? I'm going to hit them right back again. So the next minute they go on any other site within that ad group, I'm going to hit them up again. And that's what remarketing is. And this is something everybody in this room should think about if you ever want to get lost customers back. Customers that came and didn't purchase. Customers that came quickly and got off again. That you didn't have an opportunity to capture. Remarketing is the perfect way to do that. You can do general remarketing too. It doesn't have to be that you're remarketing to somebody that was on your site, or you can just in general market to, or be more specific. A lot of time though with remarketing, you do have to have a web developer or someone that codes, because there's a lot of tweaks that you have to make after. And if you don't have a developer picking specific, it's going to show up on every single page. You don't want that. You want to have only certain areas where you want it to show up. And again, how it works, you've got a prospect, they go to your site, you're tracking them, you're totally tracking them. They leave, and now you're putting your ad on another site. So basically remarketing. Number 6 in simple steps, because it's very, very important. Just a little snapshot, you can remarket without images. I don't do that very often. I don't find it as effective. A picture speaks, 1,000 words, but you can do it, a little simple click when you're going in, but I would rather actually have you do actual images. But you can just use words, but you also have to follow, there's very specific standards when you're doing your remarketing. And here's just a quick example of what it looks like. So you guys all can sort of, if you don't know, you're going to go, oh, right, that's how it works. So yesterday, I was just looking at cars, because I do a lot of work for different car dealers in town. So I was Googling all kinds of car dealers yesterday. And I wanted to make it come up. I wanted to make them remarket to me, because I wanted to show you. So I kept doing it. Didn't take very long. They started to pop up. So every single ad coming up on this AOL site was car dealers. That's what remarketing is. So something really important, and something that you're going to really see moving forward in the future. So step number 7, how do you use these ad networks? Well, the first thing is Google, largest ad network out there, right? You want to be on the Google ad network. But also don't discount Facebook. Facebook's an ad network. So I have a client right now who has a terrible Facebook page, but their industry really doesn't dictate that they're going to put a lot on Facebook. They sell basically one product and parts. So they market outside of Thunder Bay, they market in the United States. How do I get people to get onto their website? I use their Facebook page because I put ads in Maryland, Pennsylvania, the areas that they're targeting. I run ads constantly for the product. I don't care if they ever go to the Facebook page for this job, it doesn't matter for me. I want to have a way, though, to get these people to come to their website. So I start advertising on Facebook nonstop, straight click through to the site. Straight click through to the deal. They have a deal on right now, special on right now. Straight click through. Unbelievable traffic we're getting. Unbelievable traffic for actual point of purchase. I can track it. We've sold a lot of this product. Again, I'm using Facebook as an ad network. That's how I'm getting them to come to my actual point of purchase. Does it kind of make sense? And there's other ad networks out there. We always think Google, but there's lots of other ones. There's very industry-specific ad networks. So let's say that I only want to sell my product on women's magazines, okay? It makes total sense, right? I don't really want to be out there in the big world of Google so much. I want to just specifically target women's magazines. You can do that. There's ad networks that will allow you to only advertise on specific networks. So again, think about that as well. And the last thing that I want to talk about really, really briefly is we talk about responsive websites. Super important. Everybody in here by now should have a mobile-friendly website. So a website that doesn't spider out, it snakes down, information falls through, and the reason you want that responsive website that has been around now for 5 or 6 years is because Google searches you completely different if you have a responsive website. So if I'm on my phone and I type in Chloe Darling, and Chloe Darling now has a beautiful responsive website, but they didn't before, I'm not going to type, I'm going to type in Plumbing Thunder Bay. Every website on my phone that has a responsive platform is coming up before Chloe Darling does if they don't have a mobile site. So I type on my desktop, Plumbing Thunder Bay. Oh, Chloe Darling comes up first because they've got a lot of history. They've been around for 20 years. They've got a lot of traffic on their site. But I just got on my phone and typed in Plumbing Thunder Bay, and Chloe Darling didn't even come up anywhere because they didn't have a responsive site. That's one of the reasons we converted them. So the first site up there, good or bad traffic or no traffic, was a responsive mobile site. So if I can't give you anything else, look at your site and make sure it's responsive. And make sure you're investing in that site because that's a big part of your business. You want to make sure that you're investing in that mobile site, and even if just for that reason, to get up there in the searches. The last thing I'll take 2 seconds talking about is other ad networks that are on mobile. And here's a little example. So again, I'm on the New York Times. They already know that I'm getting targeted for something that I've done, some sort of recipe I've put up for great soup or something I made. So they're going to actually start the ads this way. So they're going to start with a little banner, then they're going to start off with another ad, and then another ad, pop-ups coming through on my phone. AdMob, really, really big advertising now. You probably see it on your phone a lot. The same idea. I'm playing Candy Crush, and all of a sudden I see an ad for the Northern Credit Union. Well, what? Oh, right, because they're targeting me, right? I'm on songs the other day, 8-Tracks. I'm on 8-Tracks. I didn't even remember that 8-Tracks could have ads. There's an ad for the Northern Credit Union. I'm like, wow, I'm just, and the reason being is that I was at the Northern Credit Union, I searched the Northern Credit Union, I tweeted about the Northern Credit Union, they were following, they were tracking me, they're advertising to me. So you have to move into mobile as well and start to think about advertising on the mobile networks too. I know that's a lot to cover. I tried not to be too detailed, but are there any questions? Is it too, I had to learn it all yesterday, so I really didn't know a lot about that before. I learned a lot, yeah, yesterday.
All right. Hi there.
Go easy.
The question I had was the site map and the changes on the website. If I put new pages on and new products and whatnot, how does that change my new site map now? Because I've already said that I wanted to sort of land here, but I've added do I have to keep submitting?
I'm pretty sure when you make significant changes, so if you're just changing content, it's not going to affect it. But let's say with your beautiful website, let's say that you you want to change an entire page. So you no longer are offering certain excursions, you're taking that page out. Yes, then you're going to submit a new sitemap because you want to be indexed on the fact that that page is gone. So let's give the other pages more real estate. Yes. If you're just updating content, though, no, you don't have to worry about it. It's the same. You're not changing that.
Any other questions for Suzanne? Got to be some questions. It was very informative. I got to tell you, you covered a lot of ground that I now understand why things are popping up. Why that remarketing is so how that's working.
It's probably the most popular request for advertising in our office now, every single day.
And
people want to do ads on ad networks every single day.
And it must be, but it did. I just went bing. Holy smokes! Now I get it because all these things pop up on my stuff, and I'm like, why is this happening?
It's cookies. It's
It's
cookie
cookies.
based.
Yeah, I'm telling you. It's
I'll just tell you a really
and it is
quick, really
cookies, 'cause
quick
I
funny
search
story.
a lot for cookies.
I was in my office one day with this lady, and she was a client, and we were talking about it, remarketing. And she said, "Oh, you mean like all those ads I get for the LCBO? I get them all the time." And I'm like, she goes, "Like the ones you get, right? Like we get all the. I can't believe how much the LCBO markets." And I'm like, "Yeah, I never get those because it is very, very specific to the individual, right?" So
That's the exact ones I get, actually.
Oh,
So
yeah,
that's feels awkward now. Oh, here we go.
Again, there was one part too. You said you did a search for shout on and for the Google Analytics or keywords, and you got inbound marketing, but you hadn't had that on your site. Now, how come inbound marketing came up for you if you hadn't that on your site? That was confusing for me.
Yeah, I don't know. I really don't. See, that's the interesting thing. They probably search inbound marketing. We have marketing, right, in our site all over. So Google's going to go, well, it's location-based. First of all, everything's location-based. So they're going to target Thunder Bay. And then they're going to look at sites that have a really strong SEO for marketing. Luckily, we did. Never meant, inbound could be classified as a form of marketing. That's why we were hit, because we had marketing. That's probably the big. Now I'm going to leverage it for inbound marketing. Yeah, I'm not going to take away from marketing in our site, but I'm going to add a little bit of content that has inbound marketing in there. And maybe I'll spend a little bit money on Google ads, pushing that to get more traffic through that way because people are searching it.
All right. Any other questions? Okay. I know on that remarketing, I know in our industry, we have to sort of touch someone 6 to 10 times before it sort of comes through the door. So can't stress how important that is.
So we have locations across Canada, and there's certain locations that get high traffic on our website. And we just developed our responsive design website. But we've got certain locations that are out west that offer the same services as here in Thunder Bay. But when we type them in on Google, we're not nowhere to be found on there. Are there ways that we can drive the traffic for those locations without taking it away from our bigger locations?
So what'll happen is Google knows where you are. So if you type in your, what company or what organization is it? Sorry?
DST Consulting Engineers.
Okay, so DST has offices then in other locations, right? And you're trying to search for them, is that what's happening? Or you're searching just some items on that site and they're not coming up?
No, like if we search our locations out in Vancouver, there's 100 different consulting engineer firms that come up, and we're not even on there. But if I search, say, Kenora, we're the top one that comes up.
Location-based. So ask your colleagues in Alberta to search from their office and see what kind of, where they show up there, because it's very location-based. So it right off the bat will tell, it knows where your IP address is. So I bet you when they search in Alberta, they're going to get completely different search results than you are. That's how it works. So you're not really going to be able to base it so much from Thunder Bay, but in Alberta, if they're not coming up anywhere in Alberta, then that's something that you have to really look in. But I bet you they are. I bet you they're coming higher there.
Okay, thank
And
you.
if it's a newer site too, that's just been revamped with mobile, it takes a long time for Google to index all of that information too. It doesn't happen right away. So you have to give it a bit of time, sometimes up to 2 months before your searches get higher too.
Any other questions?
Hello. Just
Hi.
because you're talking about location-based now, I've been noticing that a lot of sites I go to, I get immediately that pop-up box that says something along the lines of, can we identify your location, or do you mind to tell us where you are, or something. Do you find that local businesses are doing that, or that there's a value to adding that pop-up box to your website?
I think that pop-up just comes up depending on what you're searching at the time. So I don't think it's tied specifically to companies so much. I mean, it could be. I don't know that well enough, but I do know that if it is coming up, so maybe if you have a Google business page and you've registered it, it says, will you allow us to access where your location is, so that it can only give you those results, again, location-based. I don't think that that comes from specific companies. I think that's just something Google saying, hey, we found a lot of information, but can we narrow it down to your location? And then you say yes, and it narrows it down. A lot of times it just narrows it down anyway. I'm not sure why sometimes it asks that and sometimes it doesn't. That's something I could ask and tweet later. But
Valuable for a business to know if I'm got to a website for someone that's maybe not located in Thunder Bay, or for them to know, oh, there's people from all over looking at my site,
I'll ask, because the guys in the office will know right away, and I'll either put a little message on Facebook or I'll tweet what the answer is, because I don't know. It's interesting too. Yeah, it would be helpful.
All right. Any other? Yes.
That was so awesome.
Oh,
Just
thank
wanted
you.
to say.
Thanks.
Do you guys deal with pixelation, retargeting pixelation with ads?
You mean like the quality of the pixelation, or?
Yeah, so with Facebook, a Facebook ad, if you're trying to get somebody that's been to your site or, has read your content and they've landed on a page and you can actually put a snippet of code. Do you guys deal with that at all?
Yeah, yeah.
Awesome.
And again, there's certain standards that you have to follow,
Right.
Not just with Google, with any ad network, but also with Facebook. You have to follow the certain standards, or otherwise, I see this a lot, then you start to get images that aren't properly coded, they're not properly embedded, so you do have to make sure that you follow the guidelines, but the guidelines are specific. So you really, if you don't know them, you sway from them and it doesn't turn out properly, but if you know what the guidelines are, it's very simple. You can just code it in and it's properly set with the guidelines.
And then with the privacy, I guess on the website that you're developing, you have to include, disclose that on the privacy, correct? That, we're retargeting, you're okay with that, like to keep in regulatory compliance?
I don't know if you have to put that on your website. I'm not sure about that. We've never put it in, because when clients start to target, it really doesn't matter what's on their website, right? They're targeting outside of their website. They're bringing back to the website, but we've never done that. I don't know if you have to have that on there, but maybe somewhere within, I don't know. I don't know if anyone, I don't know if Evan, you have, I don't.
Okay.
Yeah, me either. I unfortunately,
Gotcha.
but I can ask for that one too, if there's any
Awesome.
requirements, so that you have to let people know when they're viewing if there are some issues,
Right.
with your cookies or your privacy.
Awesome, thank you.
If you're looking at different sites, you set your browser as to whether you'll accept cookies or not,
Yeah.
or whether they come or whether they get. So in that case, you're sort of caveat emptor. You go to that site, they're going to throw whatever they can at you, and it's your job
If you haven't
to
turned
block
your
if
cookies
you
off,
don't
or
want.
cleared your cookies, or cleared your cache, yeah, for sure. I don't think setting up any browsers, I've ever actually edited my cookie, privacy settings. I've just gone with whatever, right off the bat. If you don't edit that, they're gonna, like you said, target you for everything. I've never taken the time to edit it, so they just target me for everything. I know I can, I don't do it. Part of it is from a marketing perspective, I wanna know what's happening, right?
All right. Any other questions for Suzanne? All right. Well, let's give her a big hand.
Great, thank you.
Okay, very good. She's taking the clicker. Okay, so the last question, I don't even know what the hell that was about. So anyway, I was doing my shopping list there after a while. It's just, there's great stuff. And I think that, some great messages from Suzanne, obviously. We talked about the remarketing, but, that notion of the analytics and constantly evaluating where you are and how effective these things are. Clearly this is important stuff, and I must say, I think, I know I'm guilty. We're not always looking and measuring those things, or certainly I'm not, and I think it's something I definitely, need to do a little bit more of. I think also in that content and that rewriting that content and making sure it's pertinent and valid and all those kinds of things, again, just huge and important things to consider. And that rankings, all those those things, extremely important. The mobile marketing piece, absolutely. We're just constantly on these devices now. Even as I'm watching the audience, this is quite an audience because everyone's just kind of, they're down. They're like that little bird, you know, the water thing that you used to, that's how it looks to me from here.
Engage and the Anishinaabe Development Fund would like to thank the sponsors of Engage 2016. TB Newswatch, TD Bank, T-Baytel, MNP, Shout Media.